1037 The Hawk, the classic rock station for winter. Feels like the first time. How you doing? It's Michael, 305, hump day afternoon, Wednesday, and windy, my gosh. Just crazy. We do have a big show this afternoon, and starting with a special guest in the studio, Chris Legrand. You play Mick Jagger, Satisfaction, tomorrow night at the Babcock Theater. Beatles versus Stones. Thanks for coming in, man. Nice to see you.
Good to be here in Billings.
Yeah, you guys got here a couple days ago. It's not normally quite this windy, although it has been exceptionally windy the last couple days, so we apologize you haven't been able to get out and see any of our fine sites or tourist attractions. But
Yeah, it's okay. Good to be here. I like Montana.
yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome show, and we're going to talk a little bit over. You got time to hang out for a little bit?
Absolutely.
Spend a few minutes. We can play some songs in between. I want people to get entered right now. We're giving away tickets, Beatles versus Stones, right now on the website. Real easy to enter. Just go tap it in. You know, on the app. It's all about our app.
That's
all
right.
about the apps and stuff. But get in there, and we'll start drawing winners here in the next half hour, 45 minutes, and we'll talk a little bit about the show tomorrow night. And what it's like to be in one of the biggest tribute bands to, well, you were with the Rolling Stones, obviously.
Absolutely.
And how that all came about. And we'll talk a little bit about your life on the road, all right?
Sounds good.
All right, sounds good. Hang out for a minute. Rush, Spirit of the Radio, it's 1037 The Hawk. 1037 The Hawk, the classic rock station for Hampton, baby, I love your way. 316, Michael here this afternoon. Man, we got a full house. We got Chris Legrand here. You play Mick Jagger on the Satisfaction. You are basically the band Satisfaction. Tell me a little bit. We've been talking some great stories, kind of off camera, off microphone here, but about how you started the Stones tribute band like 20 years ago, and how it became to be Stones versus Beatles tomorrow night at the Babcock Theater.
I started about 20 years ago. I'd been in the music business for a long time, and then I got out of it. And when I got back into it in the late 90s, ironically enough, I went to see a Beatles tribute show at a theater.
Yeah.
And while I was sitting in that theater, it's like a rock fell out of the sky and hit me in the head and said, I've never really seen a touring Rolling Stones show. And then the other part was that all my life people have been comparing me to Mick Jagger, and I'd always just kind of knocked it off when I was a kid.
You looked the part, right? I mean,
yeah, and so when I was a teenager even, I was like, I'm writing my own songs, I'm doing my own thing. But I saw this Beatles show, and then it just dawned on me, I've never seen the Stones act touring. So I got on this brand new thing called the internet, started doing some research, and I couldn't find a full-time touring show like that, so I knew there was an opportunity.
Sure.
So I put one together. It started really slow, and 20 years later, I'm still here.
That's right. And now 150 shows a year. You guys tour all over. Not always Beatles versus Stones. Sometimes you do your own thing. In the summer, you guys maybe do the Stones Satisfaction tour, either amphitheaters or outdoor parties, stuff like that. Do you prefer playing outside under the big sky, or do you prefer being in the controlled environment of a theater with the lights and the stage, like what's going to happen tomorrow night at the Babcock?
Well, the Beatles Stones show is very theatrical, so it works. It's more of an indoor show, and there's a lot of costume changes. We have some multimedia, so it's kind of based on doing more of an indoor show. Satisfaction with the Stones act, we do about 75 or 80 dates with that a year, and we do a lot of summer outdoor events. So it's festivals and park concerts and things like that. And when it's 2 hours of full-on Stones, we kind of get to open up the set list a little bit more and
sure,
and dig into some of the deeper cuts and some of that. So there's, both shows are great, but we're real excited about the Beatles Stones. It's just a fantastic show for everyone to see.
Yeah. Do you ever, when you're out on the road, do you ever run into like the AC/DC cover band? There's that one, the female cover band that does a real good job. Do you ever run into them at any other events, or like the Def Leppard cover band, or I'm sure there's some Journey ones out there.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys ever play together on other joint ventures like that, or is it like a showdown in the showdown in the parking lot?
In the summertime, there's a lot of these festivals where there'll be multiple bands, so we're sharing one. I know this summer we're doing a big one in Baltimore area with like about 8 or 10 tribute groups, and so we'll get to see some of those people. But
nice.
Most of them are usually working when we're working too. So it's a rare opportunity to actually see some of those guys out there. But no, the tribute industry has really grown in the last 20, 25 years. And, I was very lucky to get in early on this thing. And and just keep it going.
Yeah, part of it we kind of talked about the reasons why we think why we're not experts, but part of it is because the music's timeless, Beatles, Stones, and other tribute bands, but also because if you want to see Mick Jagger, you got to pay like $7,000 for a ticket, and let's be honest, that's out of the realm for a lot of people. I mean, you love the music, you love to see the band, but who can afford $500, $600, $700 a ticket and up? I mean, to see the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's true. And what we're doing with our show is obviously more affordable, and it's more of a it's a throwback.
Sure.
We're doing different eras of the bands that people didn't get to see in our show. In the Beatles, Stones, for example, there's a 1965 era set with a Brian Jones character, and then we go into late 60s, early 70s with Mick Taylor on guitar, and the music got a little darker. Give Me Shelter, Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah. And
then our final set is more from like 78 to 81. Some Girls Miss You era, that era of the Stones, and
sure.
that music and costumes, so that we're giving people something that a lot of folks didn't get to see, and it's just a throwback show and a lot of authenticity to it.
It's going to be fun. Can you hang around a few more minutes? I want to talk a little bit more about the actual show coming up tomorrow night at the Babcock. I want to give people a couple more minutes. I know it's getting late in the afternoon, so you're at work and you're bored on your computer or whatever. You might as well sign up to win some free tickets at 1037thehawk.com. We'll chat more in a minute, okay?
Sounds great.
All right, you too. Pride in the Name of Love. Chris Legrand. He's Mick Jagger. Satisfaction. It's Beatles versus Stones tomorrow night at the Babcock with the Hawk. Classic rock station. T-Rex, bang that gong. It's 3:28. It's Michael here this afternoon. Special guest in the studio talking with Chris Legrand. You play Mick Jagger of Satisfaction. It's Rolling Stones tribute band, and of course Beatles versus Stones. That's the question, really. Who's better and who's best at the show tomorrow night at the Babcock Theater? Let's talk a little bit about the show. I've kind of been wanting to ask you this. As far as tribute bands, a lot of them, or I guess some of them go, they watch all the movies and all the film clips, and they actually, read every piece of literature possible about the character they're playing, and really, really, really embrace the role. They don't ever leave character outside of in public. How far do you guys take it, and is there any people in the Stones group or the Beatles group that really live the part? Do you know what I mean? I mean, how far do you take it, Chris? I mean, you do kind of look like Mick, but other than that, do you guys get the accents on stage? Do you get the mannerisms? And how far do you go?
Yeah, I think the key word is authentic. And we try to keep it authentic just to the stage.
Right.
So we have a lot of work ahead of us. So, but no, all the instrumentation, the accents, the costuming, it's all authentic. That's the only way the show works. And
sure.
So. It's a throwback vintage era of the bands, and everything's there. We've got in the Stones group, for instance, one of our sets has a Brian Jones character, deceased guitar player from the Stones, was in the mid '60s, and actually the founder of the band. So we have Brian Jones in the show. Then we have we go through the timeline of the different bands, and the characters pretty much live on stage. We all pretty much turn the switch off when we come off stage. Yeah. Especially our Keith Richards, we need to keep him around.
Yeah, so. Keep Keith, that's right. Yeah. That's cool. And of course, you guys, you can't emulate the excess of the Rolling Stones, right? You're all kind of a family man, and a little tough to live up to some of those expectations, I suppose.
Yeah, we, this is a full-time business, and it's a show, sure. and we're trying to put on a good family version, I guess you could say.
Sure.
For bunny out there. So, but it's just a fantastic show with all the different eras of these groups and all the fantastic songs.
It'll be great. Is it basically PG? I mean, age appropriate. It's not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be great. Tickets. I looked yesterday. ArtHouseBillings.com. I do have the link on our website too at 1037thehawk.com to buy tickets now. And I looked at the seat chart, and it was filling up pretty quick as of yesterday afternoon. It'll probably be a pretty full house tomorrow night. So
that's what we're looking forward to.
Get your tickets. I think tickets start at like $25. And it should be fun. About 90 minutes. Then you got an intermission at halftime, or what's the format?
Actually, it's a little longer than that. It's 2 full 1-hour sets with an intermission, and then there's a fantastic encore that is the highlight of the show that I won't give away. You got to come see the show.
Gotcha. All right. Do people get a vote with their app as they're voting Beatles? Is it like a challenge? They get to cast their votes or anything during the performance? Or?
There actually is a ballot at the show.
Is there? Nice.
On the program.
That's sweet.
Yeah. There's a program and some information about the two bands, and on the back, if you want to take a vote, we keep a little ballot box. It's really just for fun. It's unofficial. Right. really the winner of this show is, there's really no true winner except the audience, because they
Yeah.
get to see two of the greatest bands of all time.
That's going to be great. Cool, man. Well, hopefully the wind will stop blowing here and you guys can get out and see some sights. I think. Thanks for coming by today and hanging out with us. I appreciate
It, Michael.
Yeah, go to the website. I'll give you a couple more minutes to get in on some free tickets. Beatles versus Stones. Chris Legrand, Mick Jagger from Satisfaction. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good afternoon. All right.
Thank you, sir.
It's 103.7 The Hawk.